Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I want to quickly talk about gear setups for damaged healers, and tanks, and what kind of stuff changed in Horns of the Reach. So basically everybody always asks, is there a best in slot? It always depends on your build and it depends on what kind of situation. So yeah, sure, there will be a best in slot for some certain builds, right? But doesn't mean you only have to play that way. There's a lot of good options. So let's start with the Mundo Stone. So basically the Apprentice is spell damage, and for stamina setups the Warrior for weapon damage always is probably the best choice for PV. I tried the Lover for penetration, but the damage difference is like 10 to 20 damage on each ability, so it's just better to go with those two here, so you have less chance of over penetrating. Then we do have, in terms of gear, there's a lot of good options. Like, a lot of people still run the old school setup, like just 5 Julianos, Moon Dancer, Monster set with Immersion back bar. But stuff like this also still works really well. And it's easier to get. Now, you see Nature's Touch here. You could also run Burning Spell Weave or like War Maiden, just to make sure that, for example, on a Magic Sword, when you have 75% or more shock damage, then Nature's Touch will be good. But if it's below, it's not really worth it. It's the same for other classes, so that's what you need to kind of take a look at. For example, on a Magicka DK, where you have like 95% fire damage, you could run Burning Spell with Silks of the Sun, will give you really good DPS. In terms of monster set, you can choose between running a full monster set or just one piece. When you run this setup here, 5 Julianos, 5 Netch, and then 1 Iceheart or Kina. Or, there's a typo here, or you could run, instead of a full monster set, you could run 1 Kina, 1 Iceheart. That's also another option. Most of those sets, like there's a lot of good options. Now, in terms of traits, Infused on front bar for Magicka DDs, with a fire or a shock enchantment. Shock if you want more concussion, fire if you want more overall damage with burning proc from the status effects. But in the end you need to know with your group how much concussion uptime you already have. Then back bar, I chose to run a Nirnhorn staff with spell damage, because it's just for trash fights, it's nice, so you have like for a short duration of time when you put the spell damage glyph on your Nirnhorn weapon and both proc, you have really high spell damage. You also could run Infused with another shock or fire enchantment if you want to go for more single target DPS. That's stuff that you need to decide on. Difference is really small, so it doesn't really matter. Like, if you miss 1 or 2 light attacks, you will already have screwed up more than choosing between those two. That's the reality. Now, gear setups for stamina, really not a lot changed. Like, still Hunting's Rage with 2 Fanged and 2 monster set. You also can run Spriggan here, the difference got smaller. They kind of tuned down 2 Fanged a little bit. You also can run Huntings with Vicious and 2 monster set. Keep in mind I have another article here where I talk about stamina optimization in like trials or dungeons. So maybe you want to read that too. There's a lot of other good options. For example, look, Automaton. If like 70 to 80% of your damage is physical, then yeah, Automaton might be better than Hunting's Rage. For example, for me, like I was running this in trials, 5 Huntings, 5 Vicious, but I kinda want to, like, I had to front bar Hunting's Rage, so I lose the bonus from time to time, right? And if I run Automaton instead of Vicious, I can use Jewelry on this, for example, and then I can run Night Mother's Case on the front bar and all that kind of stuff. With Hunting's Rage I can't do that, and it's just kinda, yeah, weird. Like, oh sorry, no, I was wearing 5 Night Mothers, 5 Vicious, yeah, that was it. And I really wanted Hunting's Rage, but I couldn't, so I replaced the Automaton with... No, I replaced the Vicious Serpent with the Automaton. So I have the 400 weapon damage, even though I'm on my stem DK. And it's still kinda worth it, more or less. Sorry for the confusion. Now traits, there is more options. Those are just a few examples. Weapon traits, basically infused main hand with poison enchant gives you the highest single target DPS, precise weapon on the offhand with weapon damage enchantment. I tried Nernhound, I tried infused, they rarely proc, so precise is probably the best way to go too. Sharpened, also decent if you're not at the penetration cap yet. That's another thing. You need to know when you're at the penetration cap. It differentiates from each build, and also what kind of group buffs do you have. Do your tanks wear Alcast, do they have infused crush enchantment and all that kind of stuff. Back bar, you can run, well, if you have a Maelstrom bow, you kinda need to have this on a stamina setup because it's so strong. Precise, Nernhound, infused, all are good. There is a rumor going on that infused is kinda buggy. I haven't tested it yet, but yeah. The reason why infused would be nice is if you use Endless Hail the moment you weapon swap to your back bar, the damage gets higher and higher for each tick, and then when you swap to your front bar, the damage ticks stay that high. But I'm not sure if it really works. So whether you have precise, Nernhound or infused, all are decent. Don't grind yourself off in Maelstrom for that crap. Mundus Stones for healers and tanks. For healers, kinda simple, Atronach Magica recovery, you want to get really nice recovery. If you have no Magica, you can't heal, people will die. Tanks. You could also run the Atronach if you have a high recovery build. You could run the Tower for more max stam or the Lord for more max health. There is a lot of good options actually. So it really depends what kind of build you run. Now gear setups for healers, there is really not a lot that changed, or basically nothing. Spell power cure, must have, then you can choose between warm, cooled, healing mage, or stuff like Krakenarch or Sanctuary is also an option, those kind of things. They're all really nice. I usually run Krakenarch when you have a new group, but I usually have it on a Magica Templar DD, so you can rest people really fast. Because people die a lot when they don't know what's going on, so you definitely need that. Master Rest also very important because it restores stamina. Then what weapon traits? Infused, power, precise are all very good. Back bar doesn't really matter. You could run a charge stuff, so you have a higher chance of proccing a status effect on the enemy, like charge or all the kind of things. Tanks, also basically the same thing. It's like Ebon Armor, Plague, Bloodspawn if you want, or you can run Ebon with Alcast combined with Bloodspawn, or a full ulti regen build with Tavas, Werewolf Hide, Bloodspawn. There is a lot of options, there is more than those, just keep that in mind. It really depends on what build you run. Then, what weapon traits, so here's where it gets probably the most important thing on tanks. You want to have infused weapon with a crush enchantment because it deals like it gives you like 2k spell and armor, spell and physical penetration, which helps a lot with DPS for your groupies, right? And it will have almost 100% uptime because of infused weapon. On the back bar you should have a weakening enchantment. The weakening enchantment gives you like a 10 to 15% damage mitigation when it's active. So tanks really have to make sure to keep those two buffs on the target as much as possible. Last but not least, in the end you need to feel comfortable with your build and playstyle. If you don't like what you play, you will stop playing. So really make sure to set stuff up so you like to play. Don't grind yourself off in Maelstrom just to get that one shitty like bow with the really best trait that only deals like 0.2% more damage than the other trait. It's like stupid. It's far more important to have a better rotation and like good group buffs and all that kind of things, right? I also have a Discord server now, so make sure to join there. People are fury crafting, showing combat metrics, results and all that kind of stuff. So make sure to join there. I will also post from time to time on Twitter about the Discord and all other stuff. I also want to shout out Papa Divine. He gave me a huge donation, in-game donation, so thank you for that. Now in terms of builds for Horns of Reach, I'll probably not do a lot because Zenimax kinda killed me off on PTS, at least with the motivation. So I try to get more gameplay out, like marathon runs and all that kind of stuff, because in Morrowind I was only doing build videos and I didn't really play the game. So I kinda wanna change it a little bit. Yeah, that's basically it. Once I'm back in Germany I will stream again, probably around mid-September, something like that. So thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.